For more, I want to bring in my panel here from campusreform.org. We have Lawrence Jones, and from the Obama campaign, Robin Biro. Good to see you both. Lawrence, I'm going to start with you. So, I have a ton of empathy. I do, and I don't like seeing kids upset. No one likes seeing that, right? But at the same time, Lawrence, I don't know how we say it's okay, you can come here if you have kids and we'll somehow figure it out and there's some kind of path. To me, like, if you're gonna have a country, you're gonna have borders, and you're going to basically say, if you come in illegally, you're violating what we stand for, and you're thus seen as a criminal. So just as someone who, is a criminal in our system, they're not going to have the right to have their child with them if they're sent to jail. I don't know why you would in this case either. And again, I don't like seeing it. Nobody does. But maybe the answer is we actually reform our immigration system so that we have real borders and people aren't coming in to begin with.
Trish, you make such a great point on that. Look, I think we all have compassion for what these children are going through, because the children are innocent. Their parents made bad decisions. They broke the law. But I have compassion for them just like I have compassion for kids in my community that were ripped away from their parents when they decided to commit drug offenses, and Hillary Clinton called them super predators, and then they had to go to prison, and they were ripped away. The law is the law, and either you play a part in reforming the laws that you don't like, or you can complain and run fake pictures in some cases, Trish, and use it as a political issue just because you want your side to win.
I know, and that's what
I just think it's hypocritical to see that when this went on during the Obama administration and Democrats were silent on it.
Exactly. Robin, you want to respond to that?
This is a tough one. There's so many moving pieces and parts to this. And honestly, Tricia, it's so hard just to try and get to the matter of the truth here. Nobody wants to see these children punished or used as political leverage, but it's a complex situation. And, we've got multiple bills on the floor.
How is it complex, though? They come here illegally, right? You're in the country illegally, so you've committed a crime.
I get that.
And you're going to get the red carpet? Well, the parents did something really stupid. Let me just ask the question. If there are penalties, if parents know that it's not going to be a good outcome for them to come here illegally, do you think you might be able to stop some of the traffic coming over the border illegally, Robin?
I think that's some of what's going on here. I think it's an attempt to dissuade them from trying such measures. But I don't think that traumatizing children gets us anywhere closer. I'm more worried about the children
They're already
being traumatized. Let me finish.
They send them across the border alone in many cases.
They do.
I mean, come on.
But trauma lasts a lifetime. We can do better as a nation. I agreed with McCain on this, actually. Really, Trish, you brought up a great point. What's missing here is the discussion of comprehensive immigration reform. That's what's caused so many of these problems. I think we need to really get down to the nuts and bolts of that. It's a much more problematic.
You guys had an opportunity, right?
Cruz.
There was an opportunity to actually get something done, but the Democrats have consistently stood in the way because they don't like the policies that this administration has put forward and that they'd have to sign on to. I mean, there was an opportunity, right, for 2 million DACA recipients to become citizens of the United States of America. Think about that. And by the way, Lawrence, let's not forget how many Republican votes that might have meant, or supporters of Donald Trump that would have meant. I don't think the Democrats would have liked that one bit.
Exactly. They don't like it now because of who's in charge. But many of these Democrats that now oppose this type of legislation were for the same thing years ago. Now, because it's politically expedient, now they've changed their policy. Remember, this is the same Democratic Party that shut down the government over this issue. So the lines are very clear right now. This is something that they plan on campaigning on, running photos on in the next election. It's not going to help them.
Because I think that, and I've seen some of the polls, and they suggest that, Americans don't like this. But I'll tell you, I think if you really push a lot of Americans, they ultimately want this administration to look out for Americans first.
Immigration is still the #1 issue. It's still a #1 issue. I get it.
the issue that Donald Trump already won in the past election. So I don't understand the strategy of relitigating this for another election. I guess they want to get shellacked again. But at the end of the day, when Donald Trump runs photos of American citizens that have died at the hands of illegal aliens, I think that's going to have a tougher case. That's going to be the case that the American people side with.
And look, a country can only handle so much. I mean, we are a vast country. We are very big. We are very different. And, you know, when you think about what we have to take on, let's make sure that everybody who's here, we can handle that. I think Sweden, for example, is a great example. I spoke with someone who's quite a leftist over in Sweden recently who told me, you know, still, nonetheless, despite, you know, what this person believed in terms of wanting that openness, what this person had seen there in Sweden was, in fact, a real problem because they have brought in so many Muslim migrants that their culture, their economy, their systems cannot handle it. And so I think it's something, Robin, that we got to at least be giving consideration to. What can we handle? Who can we bring here? How will they help us?
Yes, and I'd like to point out that yesterday Donald Trump brought up this whole space army thing. So my problem with it is on a cognitive dissonance level, basically speaking out of both sides of his mouth, saying we can't afford to do this, but we can afford to form a new space army. You know, there's just some disparity.
We can't afford to bring in all these people and give them welfare. But you know what? I mean, maybe we need. I don't have a problem investing in technology that can help us as a country. But, you know, when we question, do we want to really become a welfare state? Do we want to become the United States of Europe? Or do we want to be what we always historically have been?
Yes.
And
he
that's
has the authority, though,
country.
to change this policy with one phone call. He really does.
Well, he tried with legislation. He tried with legislations, and they don't want to get to the table for legislation. I'll note this real quick, Trish. Yeah. This is going to be the only Republican that is going to give you amnesty. I can guarantee you that because it's not something. He's the only president that could go back to his base and say, you know what, I cut a deal. A lot of Republicans would have got a lot of heat over that.
And I think his base, dare I say, I mean, I think this is where leadership comes in, and I think he could bring his base with him if it's done for the right reasons, and if we actually are able to get meaningful reform. I think the American public, you know, they don't want to begrudge anyone anything. They really don't, but they want to make sure that Americans are taken care of as well in this whole process, and that we're not taking on more than we can handle, so to speak, as we see so many countries in Europe have now done.